Yo, back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Rslinx and just a basic overview of what it is and how to use it to kind of troubleshoot. Yeah, I mean, for the longest time when I was using Rslinx, I really didn't know what it was or why. I just knew that I had to have it and that it needed to see my PLC. So you've got your computer, right? And you've got your Rslogic software open and you want to program your PLC. You want to go live with it. You want to troubleshoot something or update some code, right? Okay, so you have your PLC and you want to talk to it. You want to exchange some data, do whatever it is you need to do. Your Rslogic software does not have the capability to talk to the PLC on its own. So what do we do? What do we have to do to do that? Well, we need Rslinx. Rslinx is basically the bridge, the communication bridge between your Rslogic software and the PLC. So that's all it is, really. It's just communication drivers and all the tools you need in order to actually communicate with your hardware. Okay, so we're back in Rslinx, and typically when you open up Rslinx, the first thing you're going to want to do is open up RSWho. RSWho is accessed by this button or icon right here. And what this is just an interface for you to see all your different networks you've set up and all the different devices on that network. So, for example, if I had an Ethernet network set up over here on the left-hand side, and I had devices on there, so on my network I may have PLCs and some VFDs, it will allow me to view all those active devices on there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and create myself a new network. So the way you do that is you come over here and click on the double-headed snake to configure your drivers. You're going to go over here to available driver types. I'm going to come over here to Ethernet devices. Click add new. And I always just use the default name, AB_ETH-1. Press OK. All right. This is where we can add our individual devices. Your devices need to be configured on here or else it's not going to know that they exist. So my PLC has an IP address right now of 192.168.1.100. I'm going to go ahead and press OK and then press close. And now you can see we've got a new network right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and expand this, and you can see I have a device that I added on my network, right? So let's say, and we'll talk about why it's not seeing it here in just a second, but let's say I had another node, another device on my network. Well, I'd come in here and go 192.168.1.5, right? Maybe I have another device on there. Let's say I have a VFD with that IP address. Well, let's go ahead and add it. And it should pop up here in just a second. There it is. Took a minute, but it's there. So it's looking for it, but it's not seeing them for some reason. I'm going to go ahead and remove that one because I really actually don't have a VFD or any other devices with an IP address like that. I do, though, however, have a PLC hooked up to my computer, turned on a network. So I'm not seeing it for whatever reason. Okay, so first thing we're going to want to do, why is that still there? Bye, Felicia. Okay, so before we fix our problem of having a PLC hooked up, it's on the network, it's got power, but for some reason our PC is not seeing it, let's break IP addresses down first real quick so you have a basic understanding of them. This next part I'm going to explain is not super critical, but it's just good to know. So we've got an IP address, right? 192.168.1.100. Each one of these periods right here actually separates an octet. So a group of 8 binary digits. So for example, 192 is equal to 11000000 in binary form. Okay, so that's one octet. 168 is its own octet. That is equal to that in binary. That's 168 in binary form. 1 is actually an octet. This is what 1 looks like. Notice that, yeah, it's just the number 1, but you've still got 8 binary digits there. And then you have 100, which looks like that. So basically, you know, you've got 192.168.1.100, and that is the same thing as that right there. Okay, cool. Now, IP addresses, you have 3 main class types that you'll see. And the first one is class A, and then you've got class B, and then you've got class C. Okay, so let's go ahead and just set a constant real quick, right? We have an IP address of 192.168.1.100. Okay, so let's say that IP address is a class A address. Well, with class A, the first octet, excuse me, the first octet, which in this case is 192, this is actually going to be our network ID. So as a conglomerate, all the devices on this network will be part of the 192 network ID. The last 3 octets of our IP address will actually be reserved for host or device IDs. So let's say our 192 address, let's say it's actually a class B address. 192.168 would actually be our network ID. And then 1.100, our last 2 octets, those numbers would be reserved for host or device IDs. Okay? And let's say our IP address is class C. So that means the first 3 octets are actually going to be reserved for a network ID. And then the last octet will be reserved for our host or device IDs. So if it's a class C address and our address is 192.168.1.100, 192.168.1 is our network. And then our PLC is or has a device ID of 100. Okay, class C IP addresses are probably going to be the most common class you're going to come across. In fact, I've never really seen in the field anybody use class A or class B. That doesn't mean it's not common or that you're not going to see it. I just never have. Class C is going to be the most common, more than likely. Okay, and some quick tips real quick when it comes to this. Your device ID can be anything from 1 to 254. The reason for that is because if you start going up above, you know, to like 258 or 300, when it comes to binary, you're going to need to add a 9th binary digit. And you can only have 8 binary digits. It's an octet. Okay? No devices can share the same ID. So that means if my PLC has a device ID of 100 on a class C address, then no other device can share the 100 ID. So if you go in there and you set up your computer and you give it, you know, 192.168.1.100 IP address on your network, and you have another device on there with 100, or you set up two VFDs with the same device ID, you're going to have a conflict. You're going to have an issue. So don't do that. Okay, back to the problem at hand. We're going to figure out, or we're going to see why she's not pulling up the PLC that we've got turned on, connected and everything, but just no connection. So first thing we're going to want to do is we want to get to our network and sharing center. I'm on Windows 10, so it might be a little bit of a different process if you're on Windows XP. So I'm just going to go into my network and sharing center. I'm going to open up my Ethernet network right here. I'm going to go over here to properties, and I'm going to find Internet Protocol version 4. Double click it, and here's our problem. So right now my computer is obtaining an IP address automatically. So more than likely our network ID on the computer is not anywhere remotely close to the network ID of our PLC. Our PLC's network ID is 192.168.1. Our computer's network ID, for all I know, could be 10.1.100. So to fix this, we're going to come over here to use the following IP address. And we're going to set it to, on our computer, 192.168.1. Remember, we're not going to do .100 because our PLC, its device ID is 100. So we can't have two devices of the same ID. We're just going to pick a random number 9, right? Come down here, subnet mask auto-populates, but you're going to want it at 255.255.255, and press OK. Then press OK, close, we can get out of here, and let's see if the magic happens. Let's give it a second. Cross your fingers. Maybe. Maybe. Okay, maybe not. Huh. Why? Why you do this to me? What did I do wrong? Oh, you little shit. There it goes. Okay, so she just took a while. So you can see now, voila, Rslinx is seeing our PLC. There is an active there's an active connection there, and we can actually talk to it now. Cool. And one thing you can do real quick, let's go ahead and change this back to getting the IP address automatically. Let's just obtain an IP address automatically so we run into our problem again. Okay, so one thing you can do, this is going to disappear. Okay, come into your command line. You can use the ping command to ping different IP addresses on your network. So like we could go 192.168.1.100. Let's say we want to try and ping our PLC, right? Or a VFD or whatever you wanted. We're pinging it, we're sending out some packets, and we're getting a response back from somebody else saying that this destination host is unreachable. So there's no connection there. All right. So let's go back into here, and you can see what it'll look like when we have an active connection. So network and sharing center, Ethernet, properties, IPv4, 192.168.1.1. Oop, no, sorry, 9. 9 subnet mask. Okay. All right, so now let's go in here and let's ping our PLC again. Boom, look at that, we got a reply. So that's good. That's we know we're talking to the PLC most definitely. So yeah, guys, that's a basic rundown of Rslinx, connecting to the PLC or making sure you have a connection, and IP addresses. See ya.